Hey, what's happening, gamers? Welcome back to Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection. Hadouken!
Hadouken!
Special thanks to our friends over at Capcom for sending us this for the Nintendo Switch, and we're going to take a look at Museum Mode. Ooh,
I like the
detailed
music
history
here.
of Street Fighter 1987.
Oh, we're gonna get a history lesson.
1988.
Wow.
1989.
Such a long history.
Yep,
oh my
see,
God.
Final Fight, formerly Street Fighter 88, is released.
Wow.
1990, Street Fighter 2010. Street Fighter 2, 1991.
Nice.
See? All this neat little history. Street Fighter 2, 1992. All the cool stuff about that. Street Fighter merchandise. Super Street Fighter. So that, wait, that was 93? Cool. 1994, Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Yes, I remember that. And the Street Fighter movie. And there, Amber, the Street Fighter V anime.
It's pretty cool.
Released for the first time in 1995, along with Street Fighter Alpha.
So you remember all these different Street Fighter games?
Well, most of them. I mean, I couldn't play all of them, you know.
Well, yeah, I think my brothers didn't
I never played Street Fighter 3 like when I was a kid. I played it like later when I was an adult and in college because one of my roommates had it. I stuck to the Street Fighter Alpha series.
Your parents were totally cool with you playing Street Fighter, or?
Yeah, my dad played with me.
Well,
For a while. He used to play as Blanca. Alright, so we're just going to cover just the basic history for this. When we look at Street Fighter 3, we'll go back to the history mode and show you guys some more stuff. But that was kind of a fun little thing that Capcom has there.
Fun little trip down memory lane.
So, I feel like going to the year 1998 today, which would bring us to Street Fighter Alpha 3, I believe. Which, yeah. And these are, again, the arcade editions. A lot of people have been saying there's a lot of characters that are missing from these. That's because this is the arcade representation, like the original version of the game, not the later releases. So this is not Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max, I think that's what it was called. It was on the Game Boy Advance.
Oh, yeah.
Because you couldn't have Street Fighter on the GameCube, I believe. There was like a SNK versus Capcom game on the GameCube, but the controls were terrible because while the GameCube was a great controller, it was not good for fighting games. It was bad.
Okay.
Very, very bad.
Yeah, I never liked the GameCube controller, so I don't know.
There you go.
The
You like the N64 controller.
I did like the. How do you know that about me?
I remember. Shadow remembers too. No, Shadow wasn't alive
Yeah,
yet.
Shadow's being crazy. So yeah, during 1998, I think Luke may have been in high school, and I think I was in junior high.
Ryu is a man following the path to become a true martial artist. What is the true meaning of the evil energy building within him? He continues his journey to find the answers and new challenges.
It's like half smiling, half like, yeah.
Yep, so in our first showcase, we looked at Guy from Final Fight playing in Street Fighter Alpha 2. Today, we are going to Ryu for the last Alpha game. I'm not really going to look at Street Fighter Alpha.
You just had to like put on all your stuff to get
Yeah, I
ready
did.
to fight.
Gotta get ready to fight. Also, notice how his headband is white and not red. The red headband comes from Ken. And Ryu wears it as a sign of, like, Ken is his best friend and rival.
That's
But in
cool.
the Alpha games, Ryu had a white headband.
There's like only one person watching you. Okay, two.
That is Dalsim's wife.
Oh.
Don't you remember her from the Street Fighter V anime? That's his wife.
Kind of.
She actually appeared in the background of some other Street Fighter games as well, but what made Street Fighter Alpha so cool is they went with a more anime style based on the Street Fighter V series, which was essentially Street Fighter Alpha. I never understood why they called it Street Fighter 2 V, because most of the characters that appear in that show were all from Street Fighter Alpha.
That elephant is blinking its eye every once in a while.
Yeah, that's...
It's like sleeping and somewhat awake.
No, it's pretending to sleep so it can watch the fight. It's like, all right, I got a lot riding on this.
That elephant put bets on your fight? Okay.
Yeah, because the other elephant's over there. He's watching.
Oh my gosh, you're right. They're both taking a nap.
Wait, why are there two Dalsims? That guy looks like Dalsim in the background.
Yeah.
I'm so confused now.
It does look like Dalsim in the
Maybe that's
background.
supposed to be... Because Dalsim didn't have a master from what I remember. Ah, whatever. It doesn't matter. If you look at the backgrounds too much, you're gonna get whooped. So I need to concentrate on just fighting Dalsim.
It just feels like they would have more than a bunch of like elephants sleeping in the background.
Well, India has an abundance of elephants, so I mean that makes sense. Ah, jeez.
So
Man, this guy's arcade mode does not mess around. I'll tell you that. My gosh. There we go.
good job, TV.
I still got it.
Yeah. Whoa, man, Ryu's so buff. So many muscles there.
It's like, the only way a true fighter can suffer is by not fighting.
So every shirt he gets, he rips his arm things off.
Well, I mean, the sleeves would slow down your punches. So.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It's like, remember in the 90s when people used to like cut off the sleeves of their t-shirts?
I really think that was because of Street Fighter and Final Fight.
Really? That's why you think people did it?
Yep, because the characters in Final Fight, in one game they had sleeves, and then by the next game they didn't.
So people tried to look cool by cutting their sleeves
I think it was
off.
an 80s fashion from like action films, I really do. Because Arnold did it too.
It's just...
It was a trend.
I just remember things
Like
being...
parachute pants.
I just remember things being so much simpler in the 90s. Like, pants were pants, shirts were shirts. Nowadays, it's like everything has to be like fitted a certain way and out of a certain material. It didn't really... I didn't feel like people really cared that much back then.
It's actually kind of interesting because 3D gaming was in like really a major swing by like 1998. So the fact that Capcom still tried to keep at the fighting games, like, I mean, Street Fighter 3, it did okay for Street Fighter games, but Street Fighter Alpha 3, I don't really remember it doing as well as, like, Street Fighter 2 or
Yeah.
Street Fighter Alpha 2.
That would be so funny if that was really why people cut their shirts off.
I don't know. I'm just
I think it
guessing at this
could
point.
be.
It's
because
possible, but I
not everyone did it. It was just certain people, but it was like a thing that no matter where you went, people there was some.
It was like a
person-
street punk thing.
Yeah.
It was like punk fashion.
It was like, okay, I'm gonna take this T-shirt and I'm gonna be cooler. I'm gonna make it more awesome by cutting the sleeves
But
off.
these guys are way too dainty and like manicured to be Street Fighters, though. They, especially Ryu and Ken, look very pretty boyish.
Yeah.
You know, if they were real Street Fighters, their face would look like roadkill.
Yeah, exactly. Face blocking.
Whether we win or lose, all of our battles make us stronger. See, he's such an optimist back then.
Yeah. Ryu's so cool.
We need to finish that Street Fighter anime. You only have one disc left.
Yeah, I know. I need to finish watching it.
So here's the big difference between Street Fighter Alpha 3 over Street Fighter Alpha 2 is you have A-ism, X-ism, and V-ism. And a lot of characters like Bison and Cammy will use the X-ism, which makes like their super moves even stronger, but they can only utilize them at certain points. I use A-isms because I can use my super move up to 3 times. That's why it has a level gauge. And if I get it all the way max like that, I can do an insane amount of damage. Plus, as I build up my meter, I can then do like a Hadouken like super move or like a Shoryuken or whatever. You know, there's a variety as a Ryu player that I can use when fighting different characters. Whereas Bison and Cammy, you really have to watch out for their super meter for the X-isms because it could be devastating. And it lasts a very long time. And it packs a heck of a wallop, too.
Yep. That's cool.
But no, I was a really big Alpha player. And when Street Fighter Alpha came to the Super Nintendo, it was like one of the last games, Street Fighter Alpha 2. I played that game religiously on my Super Nintendo because we didn't upgrade to the PlayStation because it was so expensive. So I kept playing my Super Nintendo until I got an N64 like a year after the N64 came out. It was like, it was a year after.
So, did you get this game when it came out?
On the Super Nintendo? It was one of the last games for the Super Nintendo, along with Marvel Superheroes War of the Gem.
This was on the Super Nintendo?
Not Alpha 3, Alpha 2 was.
Oh, okay. Alright.
But when this game came out, Alpha 2 came, like, I think it was 97 on the Super Nintendo.
Oh.
Everything hits the arcades first by, like, 6 to 9 months.
Oh, I see. I forgot it would be in the arcade. What system did this come out on?
Dreamcast, PlayStation.
So it just came out in the arcade for you.
Arcade, and PlayStation, and the Game Boy Advance.
But you didn't have a PlayStation.
No, I had a Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max on the Game Boy Advance.
It wouldn't have looked the same on the Game Boy Advance.
I wish I could show you what it looked like. It was really bad.
I think I had a Game Boy Advance, but much later than the Game Boy Advance came out.
Game Boy Advance had a very long life cycle.
I had a Kirby game on my Game Boy.
Game Boy Advance, I think, was like 98 until 2005.
Somehow I got a Game Boy Advance that was pink, but that was much later than it came out.
Maybe Game Boy Advance was sooner than that.
It might have even been a used Game Boy Advance. I don't know. I missed my pink. I loved my pink Game Boy Advance so much. I don't know where it went. I love that thing. It was cool. It was like pink and clear.
Yeah.
But you got me a pink 3DS, so that actually made up for it.
That's somewhere.
Actually, you got me a couple pink 3DSs. Like, when I would trade it in, I'd get the next... I got a 3DS XL that was pink and white and a regular pink 3DS.
Uh-oh.
Oh, whoa, you're fighting...
I'm fighting Sakura, who is Ryu's super obsessive fan. Although, dang it. People were kind of disturbed that Sakura didn't make it into the Street Fighter V anime. As far as I know, she does not appear in it. Most of the Alpha characters don't, even though it's an Alpha storyline where Ryu and Ken are like really young, and Chun-Li is young.
Yep.
And I don't remember if Charlie was in it or... I think Charlie was in it, but he had a bit part. And Guile was the lead character. Charlie is the guy who's kind of like Guile in the Alpha series. And he's the dude that Bison, like, which causes Guile to seek revenge in Street Fighter 2. Always remember, Alpha's first, Street Fighter 2, then Street Fighter V. And then when Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5 came out, you just kind of place it right between Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 3. I know it gets confusing, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
Dang it, Sakura!
Okay, I'll skip a class to fight you again, but only this time.
Yeah, she's in high school. Ugh.
Oops, Ryu, why?
That's upsetting.
You lost to a high school fan of yours.
So yeah, the Game Boy Advance was like 2000, I think.
Wait, isn't Ryu... Oh, he's like a few years older than high school, probably. Maybe.
No, you actually got... If you had the Game Boy Advance when you were in high school, you got it like right around the time it came out.
No, I didn't get it in high school.
Really?
I got it... well...
It came out in 2001.
I don't know.
2000, 2001.
I must have gotten it before I met you.
Yeah.
I met you in 2003, so...
Yep.
I don't know. Must have gotten it either in high school or a few years after.
Ooh.
I don't know how I got a Game Boy Advance, though, because I didn't really get a lot of electronic things for Christmas or my birthday or anything. And
you said it was pink?
Yeah, it was pink and clear. Like clear where you can kind of see the... it was pink and clear, so you could see the things under it, like the little wires and stuff. But it had like a clear pink thing. It was so cool.
Dang it.
I think I got it for Christmas or my birthday or something.
Yeah, your birthday and Christmas are... Oh, yes! That was a really close fight.
It was like, I was telling you earlier, like, I didn't really have... I wasn't allowed to get a job. I could only get a job at the Park District in the summer.
Yeah, and that, from what I remember, that didn't pay very much.
No, but it was supposed to look good on my resume.
Yeah, I had a paper route. That's how I was able to, although I got a majority of my video games were, like, Mr. Pete just gave it to me when I left New York. Because I was his #1 customer.
Well,
ow.
Yeah, I
Dang
mean,
it.
I actually got... My job actually paid for me to get a... You remember I was always at the pool?
Yep.
So it paid for the pool. I got a free, like... thing for the pool for all summer, so that was what I got for my job.
Yeah.
I didn't really get paid. It was like I worked there all summer so that I could get the free thing at the pool, so.
Man, Sakura's kicking my butt. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I did pretty well at my job.
Eat this! See? That's why you save up your gauge. Your A-isms.
I just have so much... so much of that is a blur because I just...
Well, I mean, if I'm being honest with 1998, what I remember about it most is not really... There were some arcades in Illinois where we were, but we had to go all the way to Rockford. And they did have this there, but I was mostly at home playing like Ocarina of Time on the N64, which blew away all my expectations for gaming. Oh man, this is gonna be so close. Yes! That's close fighting right there. See, that is what makes Street Fighter... When you were in the arcades and you had people surrounding you and it'd be a close fight like that, people would be jumping up and down and cheering. That was so exhilarating back then.
People would cheer for you in
Oh yeah,
arcades?
you'd have a whole crowd of people watching you if you were good at the game.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I had quite a reputation back then.
Really? Wow.
Even though, you know, I only showed up when my mom had to go to that one, it was Penny's or something. I don't remember where it was. Somewhere in Rockford.
Somewhere where you could blow a lot of money.
Okay, so Rose is a alpha character, and she's kind of like a good guy. And then they made her look really weird in the Street Fighter cartoon. Because, like, I mean, she's like this French chick.
Weirder than how she looks now?
Well, she's this French girl that is on the side of good, and she's trying to help Ryu and everybody defeat Shadow Lu.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she's kind of like... I don't know, I guess she's like a psychic or something, because she knows that the dark... the Satsu no Haru... The dark side of it lives inside of Ryu, and if he fights Akuma, she's worried that, you know, he's gonna turn evil or something. I don't know.
It looks like it's really hard for her to fight in that outfit.
Not really. That scarf of hers, Rose was one of my main characters in the Street Fighter Alpha series. Because her scarf is like, think of it like Gambit. Like, you know, instead of playing cards, it's her whole scarf thing.
It's pretty weird that you and I were in totally different worlds. Like, Luke and I actually lived in the same town for about 6 years before we met each other or something.
Yep. We traveled in completely different circles. You probably would have bumped into me at a comic book store or like a...
I never went to a
I know, you
comic
never did. And we didn't really have... We had a lame pawn shop, too.
I didn't even know there were comic book stores in our town.
Yep, there was one. It wasn't very good, though.
Luke, I did exactly what I do now, which is I just did my job and came home.
I used to hang out a lot at Hollywood Video, which was like a cheaper version of Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only went to Blockbuster when I was at a friend's house, which was very rare. Because I wasn't allowed at friends' houses a lot. I was only allowed to do my homework.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Oh my gosh, she's gonna whoop me. No. Take this! Yes! Super combo finish. Oh, that was exhilarating. Whew. See, I got a lightning bolt. That means I did well. That's what that means. That means super finish. And those alpha moves or whatever, that was the pinnacle of this game. And Street Fighter was kind of like one of the first games to really have the super moves like that, or hyper super moves. So then they would appear in other fighting games. To this day, they're still used in other fighting games, but they originated in the Alpha series. That's what took Street Fighter to a whole nother level besides, you know, guys basically flying halfway across the world to beat each other up. You know, they added like a more like supernatural element to it, which is still prominent in Street Fighter to this day, with the characters recently appearing in the Power Rangers game. You know? Shadow, quiet!
I'll just get her out. She's just acting crazy.
She is crazy. Charlie, no! Why are you so much cooler than Guile? And why aren't you wearing a shirt? It's distracting. Ugh. Speaking of distractions, Cat's distracting. Take this, Charlie! She's so weird. Ah! Okay. We got this. We can take Charlie. Charlie's just a Guile clone with no shirt. I mean, I never understood this. Why is he just wearing a vest without a shirt? It's like, so weird.
I don't know.
It's like he's trying out for Baywatch or something like that.
Oh, he's got the ripped shoulders, too.
Everybody has the ripped shoulders. So, notice just like Guile, he's a pilot, too. So that's his plane in the background.
Oh, yeah.
And he was actually Guile's leader, which it doesn't look like it. Charlie is just...
Guile is so much better dressed.
But Charlie, he does the anime like trope of the glassic things. Like when he wins, he puts his glasses up. The glasses anime trope. Dang it! Suplex me. Take this!
Is that guy on the side of the picture, is that Ryu or is it somebody else?
Where?
On the art on the side?
They're reusing the same alpha stuff, so that is Akuma and Ryu. They didn't really do a lot
Ryu's
art-wise.
Eyebrows look really weird in that.
Yeah. It contradicts the style of the game, though, because the game is very anime-like, and oh, man!
Why is everything so focused on Ryu? I guess because he's the best fighter?
He's the star.
Oh, okay.
Every, like, main series has, like, a main protagonist. That's an anime staple. Ryu is the main hero.
And then they put Ken in there to make it more American, like if you wanted to be an American or something.
The American version of Ken, yeah.
Okay.
Or Ryu, basically. But I mean, Ken and Ryu were both in Street Fighter, which, if you really think about it, Street Fighter, the original game, is just a telling of the Alpha story. Oh, man. So Charlie takes us down. I'm getting blisters on my hands. I gotta stop.
Has some hair.
Tracking target precisely is a basic skill, crucial to victory. Nobody cares.
Yeah, you might have to soak your thumbs after this.
Yeah, I can see blisters forming. My gosh. Woof. They don't make games like they used to anymore. They just don't. Oh, that was so fun. I really enjoyed myself.
I'm just like basically like all the other kids listening to how it was back then, because I wasn't at any arcades back then at all.
Well, I mean, I would only get to go to an arcade like maybe once or twice a month, maybe. No, it was more like once a month because I hated going shopping. And I was obsessed with my N64 and Hollywood Video. I used to go there like all the time, like on my bike. And when Blockbuster opened up near us, I used to go there all the time. Although I spent more time at the Blockbuster in Massachusetts because that was closer. The one in that one town in Illinois wasn't bad, but I just didn't like its location. Kind of freaky. But anyway, guys and gals, that does it for a look at Street Fighter Alpha 3, part of the Street Fighter collection, celebrating 30 years of Street Fighter.
Oh, yeah.
Join us next time as we play Street Fighter 3, which will be for Amber's first time. Until we meet again, God bless and happy gaming. Check out The Incredibles later today at 3. Bye-bye.
See ya.